YouTube, how the fuck you guys doing? Today, we're checking out an underrated SMG that you guys have been requesting, the LC10. Let's check out the class that I'm using. So we're using the agency suppressor for obvious reasons. You want to be silent, you want the extra damage range, plain and simple. Field agent grip, because the other ones don't do anything. Okay, technically they do, but they don't do as much. The field agent grip's the best, trust me on this. Next, you want the standard 55 round mag, not the fast mag. You're only saving about, not even half a second, about 5/10 of a second. Then you want the Raider stock. Raider stock helps you shoot faster when you're aiming down the sight and shooting, as well as helps your sprint to fire speed. Now, the barrel, that's where it gets interesting. Currently, I'm using the Ranger because I pair it with a AR. If you're pairing it with a sniper rifle, you're going to want it to use the reinforced heavy. One of them increases the range of the gun by about 10%, which is the reinforced heavy. The reinforced heavy increases the damage range by about 10%, while the bullet velocity is increased by, I forget how much it is, but the Ranger increases it by an additional 30 on top of that. So depending on what you're running with it, you'll want to either use one or the other, depending on if you want to use it as a sniper support and replace a FAR, or pair it up with an AR, then you'll use the Ranger. Let's go hop in and check out the recoil test. Welcome back to the No BS recoil test. Today we're in Verdansk instead of Cold War. This is because the recoil patterns do change in between the two titles. So take this with caution if you plan on using it in Cold War. So here's the recoil pattern from Warzone. Let's take a look at it. Oh, also, just look at that beautiful iron sight. Gorgeous. All right, let's do it. Look at that beautiful thing. Straight up and just a little to the left. Beautiful. Let's take a look at it compared to the base LC10. Now, obviously, it's not directly comparable because of the less rounds, but look at the two recoil patterns. This one's all spaced out with a slightly more wavy compared to this one, which is more consistent, which will be far easier to control. You'll just pull down and to the right if you're on keyboard. If you're on controller, I'm assuming it's also down to the right. Well, I don't know. I'm not a controller player. Also, if you don't like the iron sight, like some people I know don't like the iron sight, just take out the Raider pad and add it into micro LED or whatever optic you like. Now let's go check out the TTK and compare it to the other SMGs. Right before we take a look at the TTK, I wanted to show you guys the data that I'm referencing to. It's from True Game Data. Check it out, truegamedata.com. It's great for helping you pick out what exact attachments you want. Referring back to the barrels I was discussing earlier, the reinforced heavy versus the Ranger. Don't even bother using the task force. The task force is actually strictly worse compared to the Ranger heavy or the reinforced heavy. They actually remove the damage buff that it had. Now, if you compare the two of them, one gives you 59% plus 59% bullet velocity, the other one gives you 80%. And one gives you a 10% range increase, and one gives you a 0%. Take that with a grain of salt. Whichever one you want to use, it's gonna end up being personal preference. It's whichever you feel like is better. I personally use the Ranger. Now that I've added all the guns in there, I'm going to compare it to the MAC-10 and the Bullfrog. Now, since the TTK and the DPS chart doesn't want to show up today, let's just look at the stats and we'll compare them directly. As you can see, the stats on the Bullfrog's not fully completed. And if you just take a look, the ADS speed is faster on the MAC-10, the rate of fire is faster on the MAC-10, while the ADS speed is slower and the sprint to fire time speed is slower, as well as the tac sprint to fire time speed is also lower. But the movement speed is faster, and the bullet velocity is faster, and the reload speed is about the same. All right, so let's take a look at the base stats. This will give us a rough idea of what we should expect it to be falling into. As you can see, while the RPM is higher than the Bullfrog does do more damage, but this is because the RPM, this is how it's going to break down. Due to the RPM being a little faster than the Bullfrog, the LC10 is actually going to deal more damage. But because of the rate of fire of the MAC-10 being so much higher than the LC10, even though it's giving less damage, the math will even out for the MAC-10 beats it in certain ranges, especially in the extremities area and other certain values where they're pretty interchangeable, like 5 damage off, things like that. However, the headshot distance, the LC10 will win head-to-head when you're just aiming just for the head. You guys can be sure to check this out on your own time if you guys would like. Now I'm going to jump into some gameplay and show you guys just how dominant this thing actually is. now I've showed you guys the gameplay. What do you think? Do you think it's meta? Do you think it will be meta after the FAR gets nerfed? Do you think it'll be the most dominant SMG or not? Let me know in the comments below. One more thing, let me show you guys the class once more so you guys don't forget it. That's the class. So try it out. Let me know what you guys think. And if you guys have any more guns you want me to try out, let me know and I'll test them out. Guys, we'll see you fudging later.